Good evening, and welcome to the 2020 Homeroom Class President Elections. My name is Isaiah Treadwell, and I am your moderator for this election. We're going to discuss a couple of different topics. Who is the GOAT? Which state is better? Which part of the NBA season do you like the most? And which is your favorite childhood channel? Each candidate will have 2 minutes to give their argument, and then have time for final remarks. Now, without further ado, let's introduce our candidates. Nnamdi Nene and Bryce Dotson. Welcome, gentlemen. The very first question: who is the GOAT? LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
Good morning, my fellow Americans. Once again, we're here on a topic that needs no discussion. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Let's get to the simple things. 6 rings, 6 Finals MVPs, 5 championships, 5 regular season MVPs, 10 scoring titles, 9-time All-Defensive Team, 1-time Defensive Player of the Year, something that LeBron James has never done. And let's talk a little bit about the guy who we're going up against, which is LeBron James. He wears what number again? Oh yeah, because he's the greatest player of all time. Now what things does he do that's similar to LeBron James? Yeah, he has 6 finals losses. 6 finals losses total, unlike the GOAT, GOAT Michael Jordan, who was 6-11. In 2011, LeBron James only averaged 17 points per game against the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking about off court. We know LeBron James has done great. He opened up a whole new school. Bryce looks like he's the one opening the school today. The way he's fitted right now. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about the sneakers. We're talking about just straight basketball. Michael Jordan didn't have to leave the great state of Ohio to go get a championship. And we'll talk about the great state of Ohio later. And Michael Jordan is still and forever will be the last one to dance because he is the GOAT.
My fellow Americans, I pray you're all doing well. What does it mean to be the GOAT? The greatest of all time? 2 words. LeBron James. Greatest all-around basketball player we've ever seen. Talking about scoring titles are great, but scoring, rebounding, assists, team morale. People actually want to play with LeBron James. LeBron James makes his teammates better. Does Michael Jordan have more championships? Absolutely. But LeBron James, when you play with him, he makes you think you can do it. Whereas Michael Jordan, I can't even say some of the things that he said to his teammates before. But if you go watch The Last Dance, you'll hear them and you'll see why they weren't said here tonight. He's had the least help of all time when it comes to getting these rings. For those who saw his first few years in Cleveland, he had no help. So he had to get a little bit of help so he could actually have a real shot at getting the championship. And still got to the finals on his own. Averaged more rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. He's got more career points. And again, he makes his teammates better. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the greatest all-around player of all time. And his name is LeBron James. Thank you.
Sir, can you give me a few seconds? I would like to say that, once again, we all know that Michael Jordan retired twice during his prime. So all those all-time things, though they sound great, we know that LeBron James, we know that Michael Jordan could have enhanced his points and even his rings and all those things. And you want to talk about assists, rebounds, and all those stuff. Do you not remember the time when the Bulls point guard was injured that Michael Jordan had to play a whole season as the point guard for the Bulls and was almost averaging a triple-double that whole season? So even though you want to talk about rebounding and assists, Michael Jordan did the same thing. And if you also want to talk about the least help, Michael Jordan, his first 5 seasons, he didn't have any help until Scottie Pippen came around. And as soon as they had to go through Boston one time, the era of Michael Jordan started.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, sir.
Because I remember LeBron James in his, I want to say, 3rd NBA season? 3rd or 4th?
It was his fourth. He got swept by the San Antonio Spurs.
But he got there with no help.
Oh.
Got to the finals with no help.
But did we not play the Boston Celtics who later on won that
But
year?
we're talking about the guy got to the finals.
Okay, but my guy still played the same championship team. He got swept just like your guy. And what did Larry Bird say after the series?
What did he say?
He said he saw God on the court. That's what he said.
Last time I checked, God don't lose. All right.
Okay.
So, just to bring it back again, longevity matters. Michael Jordan stopped playing. How can you be the GOAT and not even love the game? Does he really love the game if he can retire like that?
He loved the game. It was too easy for him. He would have. You know what he would have averaged in today's game right now? Mm-hmm. A good 40 in his sleep.
LeBron James can average 40. He chooses to get his teammates involved. You don't think he can average 40? Did we see what he did in the NBA Finals when he had to do it?
And
yes,
did he win?
Absolutely. I'm talking about this year, right?
Okay, what about in the Golden State years?
Michael Jordan would Michael Jordan have beat that team?
Oh, with Dennis Rodman and...
Wait, you said 2016? The year they won.
2017, 2018.
It was tough.
And then what about 2015? Even though I do believe he was underdog, he was up 2-1.
And we're talking about no help, no Kyrie or Kevin Love.
Still.
And still competing.
He was still up 2-1. What happened to the meltdown? What happened?
Was there a meltdown?
Andre Iguodala's a reason? Is that your reason?
I don't know what I'm saying.
Michael Jordan would have put Michael Jordan right where LeBron was. I promise you, they would have won.
You put Michael Jordan where LeBron is, there's a lot of players leaving who don't even want to play with him. You put LeBron in the 90s, I think we see a different LeBron, a more physical LeBron, a more dominant, if that's even possible, LeBron.
Let me tell you something. You're talking about teammates want to play with him. Of course, there's some times where you didn't like to play with him. There's players that didn't want to play with Kobe Bryant, rest of his soul. But guess what? If I knew at the end of the season I was going to be the one with the bottle of champagne and the Larry O'Brien trophy, I wouldn't be too mad. When you're with LeBron, yeah, he's a great player. But most years you get to the finals, but the confetti is not the color of your team. So you tell me about that.
Now rest Kobe Bryant's soul. Rest my case.
Which state do you think is better? Indiana or Ohio? Now, I might be a little biased, because obviously I'm from the great state of Indiana. But it's better than Ohio. Let's just think about who this state has given us. I don't even need to speak after this. Michael Jackson, rest his soul, the king of pop. If I could sing, I'd sing one of his songs right now, but I can't. Think about the impact that he's had. We still listen to his music today. I have a 6-year-old nephew. If I play Beat It right now, he'll start doing the dance and the knife fight and all that stuff. If I play Thriller, he'll think he's a zombie for real, like he's watching The Walking Dead. That's just Michael Jackson. And I'm defending the state of Indiana. People are like, we were just talking about, who did you say in the last topic? Oh, Larry Bird. Where's he from? Oh my goodness, he's from Indiana. Don't have to mention the rest of the Jackson family, but Janet Jackson, the Jackson 5. Just think about that, and that's just one part of the state. We all went to Ball State University, right? Great man by the name of David Letterman. Where is he from? Indiana. Mike Epps, one of the funniest men alive. Where is he from? Indiana. He gets a bonus point because he's from my city, Indianapolis. Speaking of Indianapolis, we have we have a very good racing culture, a very storied racing culture here. The Indianapolis 500. Even people who don't like racing know about the Indianapolis 500. They know about the impact and just the importance of it, especially when it comes to the state of Indiana and just to racing culture as a whole. And we're also keeping people alive. Eli Lilly, headquarters right here. Especially during a time like this. We've got people working diligently to keep Americans alive. Last but not least, I love basketball. NC2A headquarters, Hall of Champions, right here. Thank you.
I want to say thank you. I thought it was very good that you explained how, if they don't care about the NCAA culture, I'm going to ask you, how many NASCAR Indy 500 events have you been to? Do you know anything about that? No? Okay. Let's get started, everybody. The state of Indiana only has really just one major city. It's Indianapolis. Ohio, we have 3 major cities: Columbus, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. We have major sports teams in almost two of the three of those cities. And with Columbus, we have the university, the Ohio State University. Just talking geographically, once again, you have 3 cities compared to 1. You have great bodies of water if you like doing things like swimming, lakes, fishing, all those things, the Ohio River, and Lake Erie. We have, if you want to talk about famous people, we have the most presidents come from our state with 8. And you want to talk about sports? Who was he talking about earlier? The great LeBron James is from this state. And with that even said, we don't even count this guy, but Steph Curry was born in our state. We are the pioneers of the air. The Wright brothers, Orville Wilbur Wright, from this state. Neil Armstrong, the first to touch the moon, from this state. I mean, there's so many things we can talk about. Ohio, Indiana. What? Can you tell me? There's some great events that's happening in Indiana. The most populated event of the KKK happened in Muncie, Indiana. And you want to bring up Ohio versus Indiana? So there's more, but I think I can stop right there. The first 4 as well. First 4 always starts in Dayton, Ohio. Shouts to 937.
So for starters, let's go back to the Indianapolis 500. Not even going to really touch your state too much. Mm-hmm. Yes, actually, my grandmother, rest her soul, love her. She actually loved racing. And it was actually from her that my slight interest in racing came from. I'm not going to lie and act like I'm just the biggest racing and NASCAR fanatic in the world. But yes, I do know a little bit about it. Okay, I don't know a whole bunch. But again, I still know, just because I don't know about it, I'm not necessarily a huge fan, doesn't mean I don't understand the importance of it when it comes to the culture of this nation, when it comes to racing. Okay?
Push me over here. Sir, we have 3 major cities. Like you said, you want to rebuttal about it. But we're talking about Cleveland, home of the Indians and the Cleveland Browns, are both improving. Cleveland, the Indians just went to World Series a couple years ago. We have the Cincinnati Bengals, not the greatest team in the world. We still got another place we can watch the Cincinnati Reds as well. And you guys are so known for your basketball, right? IU, the Hoosiers. When's the last time you guys went to the Final Four? 2002. No, where I'll tell you, I was still Similac drinking, mom breastfeeding. I'll tell you when the last time Ohio State went. 2012. So I'm telling you, man, Ohio State, even what you take your pride in, we are the best state. And Ohio State also national champions 2015.
Let's keep it pushing, actually. Let's talk about the Ohio State University. Half the time, y'all can't even go to no bowl games because y'all get caught cheating. Do you really want to go there?
That is a lie, sir. We had an allegation one time. That is not true. That is not true, America.
How you go 12-0 and you don't get in the bowl games? I know how. Could you disqualify?
Okay, that's once. What about you guys?
Look, here's the thing.
What about the disgrace of Victor Oladipo, Cody Zeller, all those kids when they played that 1 year? What happened then?
We always compete.
And tell me about this rally still. I want to know why was the most populated rally in your state?
I wasn't there, brother.
You weren't there.
I don't know.
There's a lot of things you don't know, do you?
Our next question. Which part of the NBA season do you enjoy the most? The NBA playoffs or the offseason? You each have 2 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, Michael Jordan's a GOAT. But due to the culture of what LeBron James did in the summer of 2010, the NBA offseason has served as one of the most exciting things ever. LeBron James made his decision on national television on ESPN to say that he was taking his talents to South Beach. Ever since then, the NBA offseason has been a thriller. I got a couple of examples. Kevin Durant, year 2016 on July 4th, moved himself, did the worst decision in NBA history, taking his talents to Golden State Warriors after being up 3-1 against them. Changed the landscape. That's why LeBron James still got more rings than Michael Jordan. Ray Allen, same thing. Leaving the team that he just lost to go join LeBron James. Kyrie Irving, tired of LeBron James, went to Boston, Russell Westbrook, the terrible breakup of OKC. Can you imagine how everybody was feeling at that time? Twitter goes crazy during the NBA offseason. Kawhi Leonard, we knew he was either going to the Lakers to win a championship easily, come back to Toronto, or not only go to the Clippers, but take the heart of OKC and take Paul George with them. You see what I'm saying? CP3. We thought that Kobe Bryant was going to start this three-peat with Dwight Howard, him and Chris Paul, until Adam Silver at the time reverted, or it might have been Davis. I don't remember. But that was a bad move. We should have got that. Giannis Antetokounmpo, what's next? Is he going to Miami, or is he going to stay in Milwaukee? Bojan Bogdanovic, don't really care for that part, but because his trade was dealt with tampering, he may not stay. James Harden, what's he going to do? James Harden might join Brooklyn. I don't know. There's only one basketball other. We're going to see how that works. Anthony Davis, there's all those players. They were trying to get Anthony Davis for a couple seasons now. And now he's here, and the rings are here. And this happened yesterday. We would have never thought that Montrezl Harrell would not have to change his apartment night. He wouldn't have to go anywhere. He still goes to the same office, but he wears a different color now. He's wearing the purple and gold and serving the Lakers instead of the Clippers now. That's talking about a stab to that part of the body. I can't get it right now. To the side. Hey, I'm talking about NBA. This season's cool. You know, this was one of the tougher seasons where COVID messed it up a little bit because, there was no fans and stuff like that. But that just gives you more reason why the off season. Everyone gets ready for off season.
My fellow Americans, I know that may have sounded amazing. I have one question for you. What determines what happens in the off season? The results of the playoffs, the results of the previous season. You got LeBron James, right? My guy, the GOAT, LeBron James. You even said it yourself. Ever since LeBron went to Miami, that's when, this came out of your mouth. That's when the offseason went crazy. Well, what about before then? Let's talk about guys like Michael Jordan, 6 rings. Well, nobody cared about that offseason. They were about the playoffs, the finals. That's where you make the memories, the Cinderella stories, the Miami Heat. Think about it. 5th seed. Now, yes, they knocked out my Pacers, but 5th seed. And you saw them get to the NBA Finals and win 2 games. You don't see that in the offseason. The Cinderella stories, the buzzer beaters, the late great Kobe Bryant. You remember it? Remember Phoenix? They overtime. No, he hit the shot to tie the game, the floater, in overtime when they were in LA. Then he hits the game winner in overtime from that elbow. Bang! Shout out to Mike Breen. You don't get those memories in the off season. Think about the disappointments. The LeBron James. 8 points in Game 3 of the 2011 Finals. Yes, I remember the disappointment. But then think about the redemption you get from the playoffs. The next 2 years, what do you see? 2 championships. Think about that. I think about the upsets. I think about just the arenas when you see all the shirts and everyone's just the unison. You see the camaraderie of the teammates, the atmosphere of the playoffs. Just even the AC thinks that they have a chance to win a championship. Everybody's just, it's different. They always say it's different than regular season basketball. Playoff basketball is different. Ain't nobody talking about, off season's different. What? Why do you do things in the off season? To prepare for what? The playoffs. Because that's where it happens. Thank you.
America, once again, Bryce has failed to address the matter. He's talking about Michael Jordan offseason. I didn't say that back then the offseason was better than now. The offseason is better than the playoffs now because people like Michael Jordan, he was staying on this team. So the greatest player in the world was never moving around. So yes, again, thank you to your guy for making this thing happen. And with that said, Kobe Bryant was going to the playoffs, losing every time without Shaquille O'Neal. But what they have to do in the off season to make that happen? Pau Gasol came and changed it. We were going crazy that offseason. That's when you're ready to get your 2K because you got the new players.
Why'd they get Pau Gasol?
Sir,
to do well.
So let me finish what I'm talking about. 2011, LeBron James shattered. You know who they acquired in the draft that year? Norris Cole from the 937. That is why LeBron James won his 2 rings in Miami.
His 2 what? It's the what? Exactly. There's one goal in mind at the beginning of every offseason. There's one goal in mind. And what is that? To be playing in June.
And how do you
November,
make it happen?
November,
And how do you make it happen? You have to make the proper adjustments during the off season.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
If you could only watch one, what would you watch?
If I could only watch one, how much time do I have to watch one?
No. Answer the question.
Sir, I'm telling you right now. If I can only watch one, my Twitter phone.
No.
I want to see what's going on with the off season.
And you said you could let go of the playoffs if you just knew everything that happened in the off season?
That wasn't the question, sir.
I'm just asking.
Focus on the question.
I'm just asking.
Sir?
What's better? In a way, I'm asking you, whichever one you think is better, theoretically, you may be able to go without the other one. I can go without knowing what happens in the offseason, because guess what? When the playoffs come, I'll be able to figure out what happened in the offseason.
Guess what? I would have known, too, that the Lakers won in 2020. Should they have swept the Miami Heat? Yeah. Do I want to see the disgust of Giannis Antetokounmpo not playing to his potential? But do I want to see, when I woke up yesterday, and I see that Montrezl Harrell is no longer, he's still in LA, but he's not with the Clippers, with the Lakers?
Whoop-de-doo. Guess
That
what?
is exciting.
Whoop-de-doo. Guess what? I would have found that out when they started playing in the playoffs.
Oh, okay. Well, let America decide.
We will. Simply put, as a final remark, is the offseason important? Absolutely. But what's better, what's more exciting? The NBA playoffs. Thank you.
All right, and this is our last question for the evening. Which is your favorite childhood channel? Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network?
Shout out to all the 90s babies. And of course those after and before. I just have a special place in my heart for 90s babies since I am one. And there was not a channel that held us down quite like Nickelodeon. Let's just think about the versatility of the channel. You got just the Nick shows out to the cartoons. Nick Jr. Teen Nick. Nick at Night. Fresh Prince. Do I even need to go any further? Fresh Prince. Let's think about the other show they had. SpongeBob. Everybody watched SpongeBob. Fairly Odd Parents. The Danny Phantoms. Think about the older shows. Who doesn't love Hey Arnold? Football Head. Who doesn't love that? Rocket Power. Think about the others. Kenan and Kel. What? Cousin Skeeter. I don't know. Some of y'all might not know about that one. But think about all of that. Amanda Bynes. Think about where all of these soon-to-be stars got their start. A lot of them got their start at Nickelodeon. And Nickelodeon is never disappointed. Think about some of the game shows that we always wanted to be on, like Guts, Legends of the Hidden Temple. So many different things. How many of y'all as teenagers wanted to be on Team Nick when they did like the little lounge and they got to sit down and just talk with people like Bow Wow and Nick Cannon? At the time, everybody wanted to be over there. What? Let's quit talking about shows for a second and talk about how Nickelodeon cared for us. Earth Day, right? The worldwide day of play. They would actually say, no, we don't want y'all to watch this right now. We want y'all to get active and stay healthy and get outside and go play. And they literally did not show anything from like 10 a.m. to like 4 or 6 p.m. Now, you could mosey over to Cartoon Network and just stay fat and unhealthy and watch shows. To each his own, and her own. I'm sorry, to each his or her own. But people like Nickelodeon, channels like Nickelodeon, they say, no, we want y'all to come in after you've exercised, after you made sure that your health was okay. I could go on, but that's why Nickelodeon's better.
America, please forgive the illiteracy of my opponent right now. And also, it seems that she knew a little bit too much about shows, and that's why my basketball game is still better than yours. But let's get to the debate, shall we? Ed and Eddie. The greatest show ever. You remember seeing all those jawbreakers at the jawbreaker store? That was the best. Courage the Cowardly Dog, Samurai Jack, Powerpuff Girls for the ladies. It's for anybody, honestly. Grim Reaper, Foster's Home for Imaginary Kids, Tom Jerry, Scooby-Doo. These are the classics we're talking about here. We're talking about Boondocks if you want Adult Swim. We have Looney Tunes, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto. We had all the anime. You guys have no anime? Come on now. I mean, I don't even have to have that many notes for this one, okay? This is the best Cartoon Network. Which of your shows compares to the versatility of the Adult Swim, the anime, the adult. Did I say Adult Swim already again? Yeah, that is. I'm struggling a little bit, but you know what I'm saying. This Cartoon Network still much better.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
You want to switch?
Oh no.
Oh God.
To all my people who love Cartoon Network, I'm gonna apologize on behalf of my opponent here, because he just did y'all a disservice. Yes, Cartoon Network is great. It's wonderful. But there was a lot of fluff in there. Great shows, amazing shows. That's it. That's it. And what set Nickelodeon apart was, again, they would find different ways to include their people. Damn, think about this, y'all. Kids' Choice Awards? Are we serious? Are we serious? What Cartoon Network do? Exactly, nothing. Kids' Choice Awards. How many of y'all wanted to get slime? Remember that green slime? I don't know why they had Jack Black on there so many times, but we're not gonna worry about that. But that was our award show when we were children, and you know we still wanted to watch the BET Awards, the Soul Train Awards, and all that stuff. But the Kids' Choice Awards, KCA, was ours. The blimps, the slime, just the fun. That was our award show. Nickelodeon, what you got?
This is the same way they always try to add a little part about LeBron James outside the court. We're just about the shows. We're not asking about the Earth Day. We're not asking about.
I'm gonna be honest.
Sir,
the competition.
I'm speaking. We're not talking about all the other things. We're talking about the shows. We're not talking.
It said
about
Nickelodeon was Cartoon Network. That's all it said.
Johnson,
so I can talk about Nickelodeon.
We're talking about the shows. We're not talking about award shows. We're not talking about Earth Day. We're talking about strictly what was better. You can bring up all the extra stuff you want to. You can bring about how childish these 30-year-olds look like when they have slime on them because they got to do something for their publicity stunt. We're talking about straight shows, straight to the mantra. It's Cartoon Network. We know that.
Well, if we have to, we can still go show for show. The SpongeBob's, the Fairly Odd Parents. Again, the classics. You got classics. I got classics. Hang On, Rocket Power. Okay, Rocko's Modern Life. We're talking about the throwbacks. So you want to talk about classics? I got classics too. All right. But as you said before, we'll let the American people decide.
Gentlemen, now you have 2 minutes for closing remarks.
All right, y'all. Fellow classmates, people in the homeroom, and Americans. I just wanted to repeat it again. We had the best choices. Michael Jordan. Let's not get prisoners of the moment. We know that he's the greatest of all time. 6 rings, not more to say. Ohio, I know I have a lot of Indiana residents watching right now, and it's all love. But Ohio, ask LeBron, if you come to Ohio, you will have a great time. NBA offseason. I know the playoffs is great. We love the playoffs. And I love the playoffs. But when you go, when the time hits that time, as soon as the free agency can start, you see the disloyalty of all these players, all these teams, and it's just fun to watch, you know what I'm saying? And Cartoon Network. We already talked about all the hits, the Ed, Edd n Eddies, Adult Swims, the versatility. And once again, I know I wasn't watching that much, but that's because I was getting my hoop game ready so I could beat this guy one day. So make sure you vote for me.
To the back of the class, my homeroom people, and all Americans. I think tonight we were able to make things a little clearer about how LeBron James is the GOAT. His versatility, his ability to do everything consistently for such a long period of time, okay? Consistency, longevity, versatility. That's LeBron James right there, the GOAT. For Indiana, not gonna lie, it was a close one. But again, we're talking about the great state of Indiana. The Michael Jacksons, the Jackson 5, the Eli Lilly, the Indy 500, the Mike Epps, the Larry Birds. There's just so much that comes from the state. And that even comes from the city of Indianapolis. What is there to be said? What else is to be said? The playoffs, man, we're not about to even act like this is a competition. The offseason is great, but what do you do in the offseason? You prepare to make and go deep into the playoffs. That's what matters. Rings, legacies are not formed in the offseason. If anything, they can be hindered or destroyed. The legacies and real memories, you're about to talk. I don't want to hear it. legacies, real legacies and memories are made in the NBA playoffs. Mistakes may be corrected in the offseason, but man. And Nickelodeon, we just talked about it again. The true versatility of a channel. There's just the regular Nick shows. Then the Nick Jr. So when you had your little brother or sister who was just doing too much, you could turn on the TV show and then what? They sit down while Dora the Explorer, Blue's Clues. You could go live your life. Team Nick. So then when you wanted to sit down, you had something to watch. You had people. You kind of felt like you were there. I've seen the SpongeBob's, those other classics. And then, again, Nick at Night, George Lopez, Fresh Prince. I stayed up way too late because I just couldn't stop watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Shout out to Will Smith and the whole cast. Thank you, Americans. Good night.
Thank you for joining us in this year's 2020 Homeroom election. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you tell us, who do you think won this presidential election? Thank you.